Hello, welcome and good evening to another episode, and today we're gonna look at this thing here. It's a Christmas present I got, and as it says, it's retro TV games by Orb Gaming, and it includes over 200 games. So yeah, that's that, and it plugs directly into your TV. And I would say this is probably one of the, if not the smallest video games console that you can get, because this is more or less actual size. This is the German age thingy, means kids from 6 years onwards can play this. And if we'll take a look at the back, you can already see a few of the games here with screenshots. And it says, relive hours of video game nostalgia with these mini TV games featuring 200 fun games. Simply connect to your TV to play. Video game controller features 208-bit games. Connect controller to TV to play. 3 AAA batteries required, not included. Yeah, let's have a look. So obviously I opened it already. But nevertheless, this is what you get. A instruction leaflet, a composite video cord. It uses this, well, it's not 3.5 millimeters, it's a smaller jack, but something like that. And it obviously has mono sound on the white pin, and yellow is the composite video. And the console itself is this tiny little thing here. So let's get the trash out of the way. And as you can see, it's really small. It's really small. I'm not sure, but this is probably 1 centimeter here, so it's roughly 2, 4, 6, not even 7 centimeters. So that's less than 3 inches, I guess, for the Americans. And yeah, it doesn't have much in the way of controls. It has a joystick, which feels relatively solid, but I wouldn't say, my guess is it doesn't have micro switches. I would say metal dome switches. Then a start and a reset button. The reset button is just resetting the whole system. Start, the start button, and an A and B button, which already leads me to believe, as well with the graphics, that this is actually a Famicom or NES clone of some sort. There are no Nintendo games on here whatsoever, but I would say that it's similar to that. This is a mysterious hole. I guess there's another reset switch in there, probably, which you can push with a pin. And there's the AV output and on-off switch. The on-off switch, oh no, okay, so this is the LED actually. There's only this reset button, so that's the LED, the on-off switch, and that's it. And of course batteries, which are not included, but I already put them in here. So it's not for kids under 3 years because of choking hazard. They can swallow this thing probably. Thumbs up OR mini TV game, yeah. Well, so there's not much about this other than what you see. Just plug it in and play, if your TV still has composite input, that is. So let's have a look at the instructions. Okay, first an epileptic seizure warning, then a screwdriver required for battery installation, not included. 3 AAA alkaline batteries, not included. Take the 2 video cables and plug them into the video input connections, commonly called AV inputs on your TV. Yeah, that's fine. Connect the white and yellow plugs to video and audio, but you can't see that, but it's color-coded on the TV, so that's not a problem. And yellow is usually video. And if your TV doesn't have an AV input, you will need to purchase an RF modulator. Well, I would be surprised if today's television still supported RF modulation. But of course, with CRT TVs, that's still valid, I guess. But yeah, we are not that retro with our TV. Operating, blah blah blah. Troubleshooting, the TV will not show any image. Make sure the TV is turned on. Yeah, that's fine. So there's not much more, and that's already it. It doesn't say anything about the games or how to use the game menu. There's a couple of languages in here, but that's that. So that's more than or less than minimal. That's the absolute minimum that you would get here. So the whole thing feels, well, halfway sturdy, mostly due to the fact that the batteries make it actually pretty heavy. But I would suggest we first take a look at a couple of games in here. I won't show you all the 200 games because there's some redundancy, and honestly, most of them are not that good. It seems to me that this is basically a Chinese device with English language hacked in there, and I guess there were a lot of Famicom clones in China. They had custom games made for that, and I think this is a collection of all those games. I didn't recognize anything in here. Of course, there's similar things, like you get Towers of Hanoi a couple of times, you get some platform games and action games, run and gun games, and the principles seem similar to some of the more usual Nintendo-like games, but there's nothing in there that I recognized. People from China probably recognize some of the games from their childhood, but I don't. So yeah, and it's obviously mostly quantity and not that much quality in there. But let's have a look at some of the high and low points of this, and after that we will take this thing to bits to take a look inside. So when you start up the game, it shows you this menu, and you can just navigate with the joystick, pushing up and down or left right for fast forward, and then you just press the start button to launch any game. And yeah, there are a lot of different games, like this one here, Racing Fighter. Some of these are really hard and I didn't quite get how they work. So here you have to shoot all the cars, but it's one hit and you're dead, and you have only a limited amount of ammo. So yeah, this probably takes some getting used to. I'm not very good at it, and I lost interest pretty quickly in this particular game. But of course there are 199 more games for you to enjoy, maybe? So there's lots to try out. And the next one here that I want to show you is kind of like a Commando clone, I would say, but with tanks actually. And it's not one hit and you're dead, like on some of the Atari conversions. And it's called Vanguard, and yeah, you drive around with a tank and try to shoot all the enemies. This is a slightly better game, but I think the next game that I want to show you is even more interesting. Aerial Warfare is actually a pretty decent Saxon clone, I would say. So you can adjust the height of your fighter plane, you have unlimited ammo, and you try to shoot down as many enemies as possible, avoiding ground obstacles and similar things. It has less of the actual items that are there in Saxon. I only encountered these planes and then a couple of huts and towers. There's no vertically launched rockets or anything like that, but it's definitely a bit better. And the weird artifacts on the left probably hint at this actually really being a Famicom clone, because these artifacts are typical for the NES or the Famicom, the way it renders its tile-based graphics and does smooth scrolling. So I would definitely put my money on a Famicom clone indeed. And this next one is Magic Journey, and it has an introduction with text that disappears way too fast, and it has some weird translation, I think. And yeah, you're playing this little dude with a magic plant, so you can drop magic plants left and right depending on which button you press, and the plant will eat your enemies, but one touch of the enemy and you're dead again. And I never figured out how to pass the first level. There's some treasure chest, but I couldn't open it, and the enemies respawn all the time. So yeah, I have no clue how to work out this game here. It is quite funny indeed to see games like this. Probably there is a method to it, but without having any instructions, it's a lot of trial and error. The next one here is actually, I think, my favorite, Rabbit Village. You have to save a bunch of rabbits from a burning house. And you do this by the means of this very mechanical elevator. And either you can let the rabbits flee at the bottom right or at the top left. All the time planes drop bombs on you and evil, I don't know, foxes, black foxes or cats, and they will eat the rabbits. So after a while you will have a lot of stuff on your hands and you have to time it very correctly. But this is actually pretty fun and you have to think quick. This is not a bad game at all. Nice game mechanics and yeah, very weird and fun looking monsters. The last game that I want to show you that I actually liked a bit is Police Dog Lazy. Maybe it's supposed to be a lassie, but it's a very weird looking dog. So this is a memory game where a thief will deposit a bunch of stolen items in your backyard and you will play the police dog and you have to remember where the 6 items have been placed. And this is actually harder than it looks like, because of course there's a timer which is running out, and memorizing 6 things which were dropped in the beginning isn't that easy, at least I thought so. So you control the dog and by pressing one of the action buttons, the dog will dig up the items if he finds something, and all the while the time is ticking away. So you usually roughly know where all the items are, but of course you have to be pretty accurately doing this. Yeah, this is a nice game, and there's one item that actually kills you, so don't pick up that, as you have seen here. Nice game, but there are so many more games. A lot of them are not very good, some are quite okay, and I'll just leave you here with a couple of them before we take this thing apart. So have a nice montage here. Okay, now that you've seen what this machine is capable of, let's open him up and see what makes it tick. And let's take a look. This looks like standard Phillips screwdrivers. So both for the battery compartment. So let's get the batteries out. As well as for the other screws. Four screws hold this thing together, I think. Oh, it should be pretty serviceable, but I'm not sure if we see anything more than a big black blob, or if there's any ICs or things that we can actually recognize. Okay, so this is the battery compartment. The molding doesn't look very high quality. There's a lot of funky stuff here. Then what I'll see here is, I think, a flash chip, right? This should be a flash memory chip by MX. Actually, let's look that up real quick. Get the browser, and the markings here are 29LV. 29LV 65640 MBTC. Let's see what it comes up with. So this is by Kynix, it seems. Maxim from Kynix Semiconductor Hong Kong. This is a... oh, this one doesn't say. Okay, let's take the data sheet, if there is one. So it's probably a very cheap Chinese flash chip, I guess. So nothing here that I can figure out. And there are two more screws in here, plus something to hold in the I guess the joystick. Let's see. But I want to see the other side. Maybe this thing is hackable, so there are at least a lot of test points here. And I guess you could probably read out the flash chip if nothing else. Or maybe put some other ROMs on there. I'm not sure if it's really... oh, look at that. Okay, so the keypads, this is just like in the old Atari joysticks, just a plastic cross, so not very durable. So be careful with that. Then some plastic pads with carbon pads on there for conductivity. So your regular stuff. And on the other side, just as I thought, there's just a big black blob. So yeah, nothing much to do there, right? There's an unpopulated jumper, J3, but it looks like it's J3 and J4, but it looks like it goes to the same pads as, is that ground? Yeah, who knows what that is. But it's 3, so maybe it's for a switch or something. Here's the power switch up here. There's a crystal, 26 megahertz, I think. And there's the jack, the video jack, video and audio jack. There's some nasty, oops, just lost one more screw. Oh yeah, here's the domes for the joystick. This is just a silicone pad. Yeah, there's some nasty flux residue or something, I don't know, probably. Ah, this jumper here is actually bridged with solder, and these two jumpers aren't. Wonder if that is for some configuration. There's another jumper up here, J2 and J1. Okay, not much to see here actually. So the question is, can this be hacked? And as I said, probably apart from reading out the flash contents here and maybe putting some custom ROMs here, I don't see much that we can do. And that will probably be a bit difficult as well. We would need to find a datasheet for this, but it looks more or less standard, right? Because I've seen chips like that a lot before. The question is this a ROM or is it flash? It says 90, so it's probably 19 nanoseconds. I don't know. Yeah, so surprisingly little on this board. Just 2 chips, 1 oscillator, then there's a transistor for, I don't know, switching. And the rest is just a few capacitors and resistors. There's another transistor over here, which probably switches the LED or something, I don't know. Probably by the looks of it. But that's it, yeah. So very simple. It does work, of course. The games are not that great. Oh, there's an unpopulated big capacitor here, I guess. This one here. E1, what might be E? Never read that. Yeah, it would be interesting if you could put some original Famicom titles on there. But I'm not sure that this is easily done. Yeah, if anyone has any ideas or anyone already hacked some of these, please leave a comment. And other than that, I will reassemble it. It's probably not my go-to console for the future, but I would definitely put it on my desk because it looks cute, actually. And yeah, there are, I think, 1 or 2 games that are actually a bit of fun. Especially the shoot-'em-up games are pretty solid. The other ones, not so much, and I think stuff like Towers of Hanoi is pretty boring, actually. But yeah, that's what you get. And this whole thing costs maybe 10 euros or something. So that's pretty amazing already that you can nowadays produce something like this for that little money. But of course, if you don't have to pay any royalties for expensive software, then that's also no big deal. Yeah, thanks again for watching, and please share the video, hit the like or dislike button, leave a comment if you liked or disliked the video, and hit the subscribe button so that we can get over the 1000 subscribers and I can add some extra features to my channel, because that's how YouTube works. You can only put links and stuff in the videos when you hit 1000 subscribers, and we are getting closer every day a tiny bit. So thank you again and have a nice evening.